You're watching Soleful Discussions.
All right, so hi, how are you doing today?
I am doing lovely.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me ask you this: how did we just meet today? How did you and I run into each other?
Well, I'm over here just working on my project.
So yeah, you get some work in. All right.
And studying with Rory Gilmore. And you kind of just came up and,
Absolutely.
asked me outside of Panera, just chilling.
Absolutely. So I approached you. What did I approach you about?
Having a conversation on mental health, reflexology,
Correct.
and there was a third one that
Feet.
and
That's
feet.
about
Yeah, feet.
So let me ask you this: when you hear the word feet, what's the first thing that goes to your mind? What do you think about first?
I think about people. Well, I don't know if I'm
be
cheating
honest.
right now.
I want you to be honest.
Okay, so there's a few things that come to my
Okay,
mind.
let's hear them.
Okay, so I know that people say it all starts at your feet.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna leave that point there.
Okay.
My personal thoughts about my feet is right now it's not a good example, but
It's not a good example.
yeah. Wait, I'm gonna explain. But I genuinely love getting pedicures. I take care of my feet more than I do like my nails. I'd rather get my toes done versus my nails, because our feet do a lot of work, and they get us everywhere. So that's why I'm just saying it's like good to take care of your feet. When I think about feet, also going back to reflexology, I'm assuming you can tell, I guess, like certain like illnesses that you may have in your body through reflexology.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
that's what comes to mind.
Absolutely. Cool. So today we're going to ask you some questions. It'll be your thoughts about feet. I just want you to answer however you feel in those
Okay.
moments whenever I'm asking those questions, okay?
Okay.
And then when you think about mental health, is there anything that comes to mind immediately? What do you think about?
Oh, that's like a loaded question.
Yeah.
What do I think about mental health immediately? I think about how we as a people, we just need to learn a lot of like coping skills to learn how to regulate our moods.
Correct.
And just like managing more of the negative emotions versus trying to get rid of all of your emotions,
Absolutely.
including like sadness, loneliness, etc., etc. But yeah.
Absolutely. So actually that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today, dealing with stress and anxiety. Maybe some
Nice.
tips that you might have. I'll throw in some stuff there and then we'll see what happens from that.
Okay, awesome.
In terms of reflexology, do you know anything about it? Have you ever heard of that before?
Just a little bit of what I answered earlier, but
right.
that's about it.
I'm going to give you some information today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about reflexology. You tell me afterwards, like, do you think it's a good thing, bad thing? Do you think more people should try it? However you feel about it.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sound
All right,
good.
let's start with the first question. In your opinion, what are some things that we should do to try to improve mental health awareness throughout the world? What could we do?
We should have more throughout the world. That's kind of difficult because of communication and language barriers and all that. But okay, so to each unique population and community, just having more understanding, compassion, actually listening to yourself, your own body, and then not being so reactive, I guess I would say.
I think that's a big one. A lot of times we do tend to like, something happens, we hear something, and immediately we just like reaction. We don't even give ourselves time to like process it, let it like sit with us for a minute. Definitely some good stuff there. Fill in the blank on this one. The world would be better if
we I'm gonna say this probably unpopular opinion, if we truly followed and developed a relationship with Christ.
Absolutely. And I think, hey, listen, I grew up Christian and all that stuff, so I definitely think those are things that might be helpful to some people. Maybe other people have a different way.
Right.
Whatever works for you, right?
Exactly.
I think that definitely having something that you believe in is definitely always something that's helpful. Absolutely.
Amen. Got it.
If a friend or loved one, right, was like dealing with stress or anxiety, like something like that, is there anything you would say to them, anything you would do with them to like try to help them like get out of that, or how would you handle that situation?
I would start with their thought process. I would start with their thought process and kind of try to understand where their anxiety and their stress is coming from.
Okay.
I would do that so they could start paying attention to their own negative thoughts and see like what the origins are really.
Okay.
And then see if there's possible solutions, exceptions, or just better ways to actually manage that stress.
Okay.
If it feels like there's like no solution to what they're going through.
And I actually think this is a really tough one. Usually when I ask people, I get different responses, and I think a lot of times, like, it's hard to know what to do because everybody handles it differently. So like, what you might try with one person might not work with the next person, and so like each situation kind of like presents its own set of like things that you need to handle it like better with the type of tact you need to use with it, right? Absolutely. In terms of yourself, what are some things that bring you anxiety? You don't have to go too in depth, just maybe more surface level things. But when you feel anxiety happening, right, do you have any coping mechanisms or things that you do to like counteract how you're feeling in that moment?
Yeah, so there's times, since right now I'm in my master's program.
Absolutely.
So I'll use the example of school so it'll be a little bit easier. So just when I feel kind of like overwhelmed with certain assignments, because I can overthink something, I could also have trouble with like organization of my thoughts. So that also affects like my organization of my speech and how I'm presenting to others, right? I start to feel like the stress, pressure, or anxiety of it.
Yeah.
And I pay attention to where it's happening in my body.
Yeah.
So actually a little while ago in there, I felt it like in my heart.
Oh.
So, or around,
In your chest area.
my chest area. Yeah,
Absolutely.
sorry. And I had to just kind of like stop everything that I was doing. I had to put down my phone. I really try to clear myself, whether from listening to anything.
Yeah.
So just kind of really sitting with that feeling and then just breathing through it, to be honest. That's what
so almost like resetting yourself. In other words, like nothing's around, nothing to like kind of like make you hypersensitive or anything like that.
Exactly.
And then like kind of re-enter the situation after you've calmed down.
Yes. Absolutely. Because even aside from this this particular example, if I have, and I don't even have to be like consumed by social media, it doesn't even have to be with that, but if I'm listening to too much music, too many sermons, or just listening to too much, talking to too many people, that's what I have in my thought process. You know what I'm saying?
It's like not allowing you to like have one clear thought. It's like many things going on up there.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Interesting. All right. If you could change one thing about yourself, right, and it doesn't have to be something physical, but just in general, is there anything you would change?
If I'm answering truthfully, sheesh, I would say no.
Okay.
Only because I'm really trying to learn how to just develop from where I'm at.
Yeah.
And evolving from where I'm at, and just trying to learn how to love how God made me to be.
Absolutely.
So
I think this is always the answer that I'm always like, I always love when I get that one, because I feel the same way. I always tell people, I'm like, I feel like if I was to change something, right, it would then change the like trajectory, maybe the people I've met in my life, all those things would like be different.
Yeah.
So like everything that I've been through, everything that I've done, I didn't do, led me to the situation, and so happy to be in that situation. Absolutely.
Yes.
Fill in the blank on this question. I'll be intrigued to see what your thoughts are now on these questions that are coming up.
Okay.
When I think about my feet, I feel. How do you feel?
When I think about my feet, I feel like I need to go get them done.
No,
I'm being so serious right now. I'm like hiding my toes.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, when I think about my feet, I think like, man, I wish I could get more daily massages.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, for real. And yeah, I would just get more massages, more pedicures, and just trying to take
time, like maybe even the money, like just to do
yes,
that,
the money, because I'm just like, dang, you have to
focus on your masters right now.
Yeah,
like,
you have to pay for the service, and then you have to tip them, and then I'm just like, yo,
it's a bit much.
a lot.
Yeah, it's a bit much. Absolutely. Let me ask you this: have you ever received compliments about your feet? Has anybody ever said to you, "Hey, you have nice feet"? Does that ever happen?
When I have my toes done, yes.
You have your toes done, yes. When you got a compliment about that, how did it make you feel in the moment? Like, what did you think? Like, how did you feel?
I was like, Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Like,
thanks.
thank you.
So there was a little
Like,
apprehension on your end in terms of accepting the compliment?
I mean, I was just like, that's strange.
You were
I've
intrigued
never
by why?
I've never had somebody like compliment my toes like that or
Okay.
really like pay attention to feet.
Okay.
And then so when they mentioned how they liked feet or whatever, I was just like, okay, cool. Like that's your thing, so cool. I didn't want to make that person feel bad
Feel
for
uncomfortable or anything.
But I was
Absolutely.
just like, okay, what a strange compliment out of everything to
Absolutely.
get.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Let's say in that same moment they had complimented your hair or your eyes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have felt differently?
Yeah, because it's just more common
It's
to
more common.
receive a
Exactly. And I think that a lot of times, was your reaction more because of like what society thinks about feet and how like it could tend to be a little bit different because somebody says, hey, I think you have nice feet, that might come across as being something that you think about as like sexual or something like that? Be honest.
No, I'm gonna be honest. I'm
Okay.
gonna be honest. So, one, I think it mainly has to do with like, it's not common.
Okay.
But two, I think the only part that comes to mind that might be influenced by society or that can be influenced by society is having like a foot fetish. So I'm just like, does he
it
or
makes
she
you
have a
think.
foot? Yeah.
Absolutely.
But also, like, what if, they need a model foot agency? The agency models.
Correct.
Who knows? Like,
We
you know what I'm
never
saying?
know. You never
What
know.
if they're just like, hey,
Yeah. They want to
you want
sign
to be in
you
a
up,
commercial?
Like, let's go.
Like, yeah. So,
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, like, because you said the first time that's how you feel. Let's say you had your toes there right now and somebody said that same thing to you. Would you feel a little more comfortable with it? Because you're like, oh, I already got that compliment before, so it's all good.
I would be like, oh, thank you, because my sisters used to tease me about my toes and stuff, my feet, like, because they're little chubs or whatever. So I think I would just be like, okay, like, thank you, because
A little boost to the
I don't get
confidence.
yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
I don't get that a lot.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this: in terms of compliments you receive from men and women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer to receive it from one group over the other?
So I think with the male gender, it would depend on how it's presented to me. Yeah, and the context. Yeah.
Got
so
it.
that's the
Yeah.
difference. But let's say if it was a solid group of just male best friends, and I think it's just, if it's coming from both genuine places, I no preference.
Absolutely. I definitely get that. Absolutely. Let me ask you this: in terms of compliments you receive, when you get a compliment from somebody, is there a specific compliment that you're like, man, that makes my day, that really made me feel good? Is there anything like that for you?
I think when somebody compliments your, like how people say, your aura.
Or your energy.
Yeah, like that. Or
that's my favorite. That's my absolute favorite, because I feel like, I mean, I've said this a couple times on my channel, but I feel like there may be times where I don't feel like I'm exuding that or whatever like that. So when somebody else is just like, man, your energy was amazing or whatever like that, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that makes me feel good that I can make somebody else feel like positive or whatever.
Yeah, you're really awesome, because I actually feel a lot better doing this because of how you're presenting yourself and with the questions. So
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So how often do you get pedicures? So you talked about it's been a while. How often do you get pedicures?
As soon as I start seeing my my nail polish start chipping and stuff.
You're like, it's time to go.
I'll probably go get my toes done.
Okay, and I think it's been winter,
prioritizing.
Right? It's been winter, so a lot of women are like,
no, but still, like, if I get that, but
it's interesting when I go and do this. I ask women like, how often do you get pedicures during the winter? And some will say, I don't go during the winter because I'm not going to show my feet. So
that's true.
And I always ask about the self-care portion. I'm like, don't you want to keep the self-care going? Because like, to me, that's a big part of like, sometimes with the mental health aspect, right? Being able to go do something to like pamper yourself, make yourself feel better, like to reset, kind of like what we talked about earlier. Like, might have been having a long week, but I go get that pedicure, I come out and I'm like looking fresh right now, you know?
You're hilarious.
Absolutely.
There's foot scrubs now though, so.
That's true. I've heard about the foot pills and all that stuff. Absolutely. In terms of pedicures, have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before?
No.
Okay. So that's going to see a podiatrist, specialist of the foot. Basically what they do is they take a look at your nails to make sure they grow correctly. They can tell you like the correct like grain that it goes in. They could basically take a look at your toe line, your alignment, and like tell you like if there's anything you're doing, maybe you're wearing shoes that are too tight or anything like that. Tell you what kind you should wear. They like do work with dead skin, fungus, do all the work there with like medical grade equipment. It's actually the cleanest possible pedicure you can get, right?
Oh, nice.
They don't do colors, but they do clear coats, like to hook you up. But what would your thoughts be on seeing somebody like that who could give you like insight into like what's happening with your feet, like things you should do to like upkeep? How would you feel about that?
I would welcome it.
Absolutely.
I would welcome it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it could be educational, right? Things that maybe you don't know.
That's what I'm thinking, because I'm just like, I might go in there just like mind blown of everything, all the information that I gather, like, yo, I never thought that this would link to this, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, there's definitely people who, like, some people tend to have drier feet, like their feet just are naturally dry. Basically, they'll tell you the right type of lotion, because there's specific lotions you should use, like, based on your body's chemistry and things like that. So, I definitely think it's something good. I've actually gone and got one myself before, and, like, very educational. They say you should go see somebody like that maybe, like, 3 to 4 times a year just to like upkeep purposes. Absolutely. In terms of wearing shoes, how often do you wear open toe shoes, sandals, flip flops, things like that?
Well, in the summer, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
When it's warmer.
So when it's warmer outside,
Absolutely.
So very
how
often.
do you go barefoot, no shoes?
When I'm inside the house. When I'm inside the house. When I'm at a beach.
Okay.
Or when I'm at a park. Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I always get that.
I just
now,
like grass.
So, you gotta be
Yeah.
careful with the grass. Now let's say it's this situation, right? This scenario. Let's say that you went to the park, found a tree, nice shade, put your blanket down, got your favorite book, got a couple snacks, shoes on or shoes off?
They would be, well, if I have flip flops, you know, they would probably be off, and my feet would be like crossed and like dangling and stuff. Like that,
just having fun, just enjoying that nice little breeze and everything, right?
And I mean, never mind. I'm not gonna. No, never mind. That's okay. Yeah, but yeah.
All right. In terms of what we're talking about right now, going barefoot, have you ever heard of earthing and grounding before? Does that sound familiar to you? All right. Have you ever tried that before?
Yeah, indirectly.
Indirectly. So not really trying, but I'm saying, have you ever tried to be intentional about it?
Yes, but not a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like a few times that I could say.
What were your feelings after like experiencing it, going through it? How you feel?
You know, like I was born with my son. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, but I did feel a little bit more, how do you say, like, less diluted, I guess?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You felt like you kind of emptied out some of that, like, space that might have been clogged up by, like, thoughts and stuff like that. You were, like, a little bit more relaxed and more zen. More
zen. Yeah, I did feel a lot more zen, though.
Absolutely. Cool. All right, so now, in this moment right now, we see what your feet look like.
No!
Okay, and she went all the way back with the finger, came forward. So why is that?
No. Because I don't want my toes done! I mean, you could get like a quick, like...
Hold on. So we do understand that, but I do want to challenge you. You're into the mental health, so I'm going to challenge you.
Okay.
Tell you what my channel, like how we got started. We're going to come back around and see. Okay. So during quarantine, I'm going to explain to you about the mental health of the channel. So during quarantine, right, I was watching another guy's channel. He was talking about exposure therapy, right?
Yes.
Okay. So exposure therapy is for people who might feel uncomfortable in certain situations or scenarios. They're like presented with it and they're like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't feel comfortable with that, right? And so basically what I learned from it was that like you should try to push yourself out of that comfort zone because a lot of times in life, like we say no to things and like we make up reasons for why not to do something and it's not really a valid reason. We're just doing it because we don't want to move any further. We feel comfortable in that comfort zone that we're in, right? So when I heard about that, I was like, dude, I'm an overthinker. Like I will like, you give me something and I'll be like, oh no, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, and before I know it, ship is passed, and I'm like, it's too late. So I wanted to get better at doing that and just being able to make snap decisions in certain situations. Not every situation requires me to think so much, right? So when I thought about that, I was like, during the time, right, quarantine, a lot of women were getting famous for like foot modeling. That was the thing. Right?
Okay.
So I had the idea
nice spin.
to take a channel like where I take exposure therapy. I'm going out, I'm interviewing women, so like I don't know you, we just met right now, right? I don't have time to prepare, you don't have time to prepare. Can I get you to get out of your comfort zone to like practice some of that exposure therapy? By showing your feet. Or do you get to the point where you're like, nah, I'm uncomfortable, I don't have a pedicure, or I don't know where this is going, I don't know you, all these different things might come up.
Yeah.
And so, like, what causes you to feel like that? What causes you to stay in that comfort zone? That's kind of what we're trying to do, right? Because a lot of people tend to look at, like, feet as a negative thing. It's like, they hear about it and they're like, they immediately think a fetish or they think something like this. And I always ask people, like, why don't you think about self-care? Why don't you think about, like, you know, massages or, you know, things like why doesn't that come to your mind first, right?
Maybe luxury.
Exactly, but the whole point of my channel is to like kind of show the different reactions I get. Some women are like, yeah, sure, they're not really thinking about it. Matter of fact, lady who we're here today getting a pedicure, she was like, yeah, sure, no worries.
Sure.
Some people were like, nah, I don't know. And then I guess some women were like, nah, I'm good. But the whole point of my channel is to show those reactions so that people can like see like some people are open, some people are not. Everybody has their own like way of feeling about the situation. But if you meet enough people, you can like find some people who are like-minded and like you don't trip off that type of stuff. So that's what my channel is all about. What are your thoughts about it? How do you feel about it? Can we get you out of that comfort zone? Because at first you were like, absolutely not. How you feeling?
So my question is, how long is it going to be on there?
How long is it going to be on
there? Yeah, is it going to be like a quick whoop, whoop?
We're going to take a look. We're going to take a look at the top of your feet, the bottom. We're going to do some stuff, and then we have some more exercises.
Lord. So. You have exercises? Do I still get to participate in the exercises if I say no?
Can you participate in the exercise? Well, because you would have to take your shoes off. Like, I don't know how you're going to do it without your shoes being off. Like, that would be hard for you to do.
Oh, man. I have to miss out on the...
No, you don't. I'm still going to ask you some questions. So, no, don't worry about that. But I'm saying there's certain exercises that we do to feel like when we start talking about reflexology. So, yeah, it's good. You can say no.
Yeah, I'm going to... Yes, I'm going to pass. Not because... what's called... I get your concept though, and I appreciate the concept of exposure therapy. I am gonna say no only because if I was to say yes, I would want it to come from myself. So yeah.
That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. So let me ask you this: how are you feeling so far during your interview? Like, what's your emotions like?
I'm chilling now.
Okay. Did you reach a point where you kind of felt a little anxiety or anything like that? Where you like were like.
Well, yeah, because I was just like, I don't know where this is going to go. I didn't know where this was going to go.
And I'm going to share my YouTube channel with you after we're done so you can see.
No, this is awesome. I'm actually really excited.
Absolutely.
I will follow you.
Cool. So in terms of like reflexology, let's talk about that. So reflexology is all about the different pressure points you actually have in your hands and in your feet. Right? Those pressure points actually like, they connect to like different parts of your body. So like, let's say for example, you go get like a massage, you do acupuncture, you do acupressure. Basically, you can alleviate stress and tension to those various areas. Like, they connect to like your organs, some parts of your organs and stuff like that. Let's say, for example, you're somebody who deals with migraines, right? It's actually a portion of your hands and your feet you can massage. It alleviates the tension you feel in those moments. It's actually a piercing you can get in your ear too. Does the exact same thing. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think like it's a positive thing? Would it be something that maybe you would try in the future? How do you feel about it?
Definitely a positive thing. It's actually kind of funny because right now I feel some pressure.
In your foot.
Yes. And I could tell if somebody was to massage it, not myself, you know, there would be a lot of relief going on. So yeah.
There's actually some things you can do too. I'm going to give you a couple of tips. I usually like to try this out on the camera. But basically at home, if you take a golf ball or tennis ball, right, in the mornings when you wake up, take your foot, just roll it across it. Basically, you'll loosen up some of those like muscles and tendons that maybe you don't normally use. It'll start to like kind of loosen it up for you. Absolutely. And tennis balls are really cheap. You can get them at Target. I actually just bought some recently. About $1.50, $2. Yeah. So like,
for sure,
pretty inexpensive. Like a way to kind of help your body out. Absolutely. So let's wrap it there. All right. In terms of my approach, I came up to you. I asked you, hey, down to do this interview. Was my approach good? Was it bad? How did you feel about it?
It was amazingly appropriate. I didn't feel pressured. I think you present very authentically, so that gave me a lot of comfort to say yes or no.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like to leave. I do try to push people a little bit to see can they come out of the comfort zone, because some people will initially be like, no. Like I met a girl here, I don't know, maybe about 2 weeks ago, and her reasons for like why she was like kind of like not wanting to, she didn't have a reason. She was just like so like she was like laughing so much and just like no, and then eventually she was just like, I don't really have a reason, so sure, let's go. She had just got a pedicure, so it really wasn't because her feet were bad or anything. So absolutely.
Shout out to her.
In terms of the interview from start to finish, did you see how everything was going along in the line? Did it make sense? Did you learn anything new from the information?
Yeah, it was very linear. you had a very good way of directing the conversation where I kind of had a sense where we were going,
Yeah.
but also it was just like a nice lead up, a nice development. So that was great. I did learn from this experience as far as just like the interaction. I learned a lot from the actual interaction.
Yeah.
And then just even learning about myself as far as whether I'm going to succumb to doing something
Absolutely.
or not.
It's really big to see that, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of times maybe you are somebody who says yes to a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
But to be able to know like, oh, in this situation, hey, I don't feel comfortable, so I'm not going to move any further. And that's what I always try to get to.
Yeah,
I always
yeah,
just want
yeah.
people to tell me, what is your reasoning for it? Because sometimes we don't have a reason. It's not because we feel uncomfortable. It's just I'm self-conscious or like
Yeah.
whatever. I just want to hear that so that way we can put it out there. Absolutely.
So can I just respond to that quickly?
Sure.
Actually, that's also part of the reason why I was just like, should I say yes or should I say no? Because I typically just go. And it's like sometimes, so that's what I'm putting into practice. Like, no, like you really do have to stop and think and don't always say yes to everybody.
Absolutely.
So that's my little own healthy boundary that I'm doing
great.
with myself.
I mean, that's great. That's beautiful to see because I think that we all need that. As a matter of fact, I have a girl at my job who's like kind of like a daughter to me almost. And some of the advice I give her for dealing with men, I'm like, hey, you got to set boundaries and expectations. If you don't set that early on, and like let them know like, hey, like I'm not doing this, and like this is how I feel. Like you got to take me out on a date, things like that. If you don't do that, then they're just gonna treat you however. So definitely love to have seen that like play out right here.
Yeah.
Last thing I always ask on my channel, something you can say to the channel that could be helpful from like a mental health standpoint. Maybe it's a life lesson you learned. Maybe it's some wise words that somebody shared with you. Anything you can say.
This is like so perfect. This is like good practice.
Absolutely.
I would say, honestly, kind of what I've been sharing, just don't, while yes, you do need coping mechanisms to regulate your emotions and your moods, don't allow your coping mechanisms, whether they're healthy or unhealthy, to become distractions. Don't distract yourself. Pay attention to your thoughts. If you can't tell somebody exactly what you're thinking, if you can't measure whether your thoughts are healthy or unhealthy, then you're probably having very unhealthy thoughts. So actually like sit with your emotions and don't judge them, just observe them and name them, and that's it.
Well, thank you so much. We definitely appreciate you stopping. We know you were studying and everything, doing your thing. Appreciate you stopping and sharing this time with us. All right. We hope that you have a great one, okay?
You too.
All right.
Thank you so much. This was actually really cool.
Absolutely.